Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Laura Grace, your resident book lover, proclaimed words are good, reading addict. And today I'm excited to share with you the books I read in January. I'll give you my thoughts on each one, but I must do a disclaimer because I actually don't own many of the books I got. They're in the library, so I don't actually have them with me right now because I pretty much give them back nearly immediately. I really should video my reviews with all the books, but alas, I'm not that organized. So let's dive in. I'll put a picture of the book in question. Let's see here. We should see. So I'd like to dive into the first book, which is what's the name? Girl and the Nightingale by Katherine Arden. So I actually was quite surprised by this book, how much I liked it. I have my notes here about actually the summary of what the book is about and my thoughts. So I'm going to actually read this because I would not remember this at all if I did not have notes. The Bear and the Nightingale is set in medieval Russia and follows Vasya, a young girl who can see and communicate with the spirits that inhabit the world around her. When her father brings home a new wife who is fiercely devout, Vasya's family is forced to abandon their old traditions as the village begins to suffer from the absence of these rituals. Vasya must use her unique gifts to protect her family and village from the encroaching darkness. I was actually I started reading this book without actually knowing what to expect at all. But immediately I was like, this is so good. So I started reading it in the end of December. I finished it at the beginning of January, but oh my god, it's so beautifully written and enchanting. And it's like a fairy tale, but it's dark. So probably what some of the original fairy tales would have been like. And immerses you into Russian folklore, which I didn't really know much about. There's very little I actually know about Russian, the basics. So now I'm hooked and fascinated, and I want to know more about the culture and the world. And fantasy elements of getting into sentences. I love the exploration of the conflict between the new and old religions. Now, Vasya must navigate this conflict to protect her family. The book brilliantly captures the tension between the old traditions and the new Christian faith, which is something you see all over the world. Like nearly every culture has their traditions, and then they've been encroached on by newer religions, and usually the new religions are violent and aggressive and use fear tactics to try to push their own agenda. So Vasya is a strong and relatable protagonist, making the journey compelling and poignant. I did connect with her quite early on. You kind of start, the story starts before she's born, and then kind of a little bit into droplets of her life growing up. The book emphasizes the importance of respecting and preserving cultural heritage, while also highlighting the strength and resilience of individuals who stand up for the beliefs. It's actually, it's scary, some people are so forceful for what their religious beliefs, and they're not thinking about the whole picture of what could potentially, some old traditions are so probably, there are a lot of old traditions within new Christian religions, like with Christmas. Christmas is actually a pagan holiday, and they turned it into Jesus' birthday, which is actually, his birthday is in summer. So I'm going to move swiftly along so I don't say anything inappropriate or else I already passed. So next up, we have Howl's Moving Castle by Diane Wynne Jones. I said that really, but it was really fun book. It is a whimsical fantasy novel that follows the adventures of Sophie, a young woman turned into an old lady by a witch's curse. Probably know this slightly from the Studio Ghibli movie of the same name, based on. And she seeks refuge in the moving castle of the eccentric wizard Howl. Together they navigate a world of magic, curses, and unexpected friendships. The book is filled with humor, charm, and unforgettable characters, making it a delightful read from start to finish. It really is. I didn't know what to expect. I knew it was going to be completely the same as the movie, and it wasn't. There was a bit, like, good bit of it, chunks was in the movie, but there's so much parts that I was like, so many parts. Needed good and neat was like delightfully different, and I was like, I think I don't usually laugh at books. It happens every now and again, but I got a few good chuckles out of this one, and it's just so weirdly random. This book is really a, what did I call it? I called it, hilarious delight. Pretty simple words. Hal's character is even actually more dramatic in the book than in the movie. A true drama queen who he does genuinely seem to care about people. I think you see that more in the book. Despite his power as a wizard, he often seems like a young man, someone who just, if you're friends with him, just drive you mad. But you'd love all the same and protect with your life. So the story is unique and it does keep you smiling. And there's some bits in it that's just, I was not expecting, and it was brilliantly little bits that just, I don't want to say much about it because there's so much you know about the movie. So the book, I like to keep those surprises, and I'm not usually very good at keeping things hushed about books, but this I just read it. Like, it's just so unique, and I found myself laughing and then giggling and just like there's plenty of what in the world did I just read moments, but in a good way. Pure joy. I love this one much. I dreamed thought that I actually can't remember what it is. So we're going to move quickly along. The next book, third book, and that was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. This probably veers off. I have some really random books. I do tend to read random books each month. I like that though. Makes it a little bit more exciting. So Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is a novella that tells the story of Dr. Henry Jekyll. I'd be surprised if people don't know the story. A respectable scientist who creates a potion that allows him to transform into Mr. Edward Hyde, evil alter ego. So as Hyde, Jekyll indulges in immoral and criminal activities without facing any societal repercussions as himself. However, the transformation soon spirals out of control, leading to dire consequences. Yeah. The novella explores themes of identity, morality, and the duality of human nature. I knew the story. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is like famous. I didn't expect what I read, and it really is quite sad, kind of, in a way. It was like, it is a brilliant exploration of the duality of human nature, and the story is gripping and thought-provoking. Delving into the struggles between good and evil within just one person, within yourself. The transformation of Dr. Jekyll into the sinister Mr. Hyde is both chilling and fascinating, and the narrative keeps you on the edge of your seat. It's like, the way it's presented was so strange. A lot of like people's testimonies and stories, and people just observing this person lose. They almost, from the outside, looks like they're spiraling into a deep depression, and the friends just seem to want to help them. And it's just sad to watch until an ending that it's like, yes, it's kind of the view of Dr. Jekyll, and I thought it was sad in a way. It's supposed to be horror. The most horror, I think, the ones are kind of sad. I kind of want to see the movies now. I need to actually look at some of these movies. Next, the book is this the fourth one. First book of my Brandon Sanderson reading challenge is Mistborn: The Final Empire. Oh, so good. It's like this world, like Brandon Sanderson, I gotta say, is really good at world building. It's my first series to read from Brandon Sanderson because I read Yuми and the Nightmare Painter last year, and what's the other one? Tress and the Emerald Sea. Like them, love them both in their own ways. Really good. Tress and the Emerald Sea, I love that book more on the whole, in the whole. Really loved the ending and like the end parts of. It took me a while to get into it at first of Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, but gradually I started loving more and more. Anyway, that Mistborn. This is based in a world of the ash. Some form of ash falls from the sky, and mist dominates the night. So, I'm really interested in that. Whether it's kind of mysterious. Can't wait to find out more. Where most of the cows ash all over the world. But the story follows Vin, a sweet urchin who discovers she is a Mistborn, a rare individual with the ability to use allomancy. It's a magical system that involves the ingestion of different metals, which gives you the ability to. Oh, sorry, my eyes. Sorry about that. My eyes are really weird and dry. So, Vin discovers she is a Mistborn, which involves the ability to burn all the different metals in this magical system called allomancy. So usually people who do, most people who are capable, so there we go. Being able to use allomancy is quite rare in itself, and that involves most people being able to burn one type of metal, and then that gives them the ability to do something. So like, double check what some of those metals are. So I think pewter, you burn pewter, you can go really strong. I get mixed up with iron and steel. They're like pulling and pulling of other metals. So if you burn one of them, you can actually, like, it's a negative magnetism. You're pushed away from the metal, and the other one will bring, like, positive magnetism will bring you towards the metal. Pretty cool. But Mistborn can use all of these abilities, or can burn all of these metals, so can actually use all of these abilities. Which is really cool. So Vin discovers she has this, and she joins this group of rebels, which is led by another Mistborn called Kelsier, who plans to overthrow the tyrannical Lord Ruler. That was his title. Together, they navigate a world of political intrigue, magical battles, and personal growth. This novel explores themes of trust, power, and the fight of freedom, and fight for freedom. I did like some. I know some people were saying they didn't like some parts was slow at the beginning, but I really did like. I like when you get to know the characters in the first book, especially when you get the world is introduced to you, and most of the characters, how they observe things and they're learning things as they go. That is what happens in this book, though. So it's a huge part is Vin, who's very used to her natural way of moving around the world, is to not be noticed. So become really small and nervous and terrified of everything, but also brave at the same time. So her way of surviving is to be nervous or be anxious to be there, so she'll be prepared for everything and to expect things that may not seem very clear to everyone else. So she's flighty, but it helps her survive. But that part of her, like, she's still kind of still there, but she's learning to become more confident in herself, and having this ability, being Mistborn, is bringing her awareness of herself, and she's a natural gift to something, which may not be good to other things, but I love that. So personally, I think like this is fantasy is it weaves a captivating tale, and it's just once again world building is extraordinary with a unique magic system. It does that the magic system is based on metals, as I said, and it does kind of remind me, not fully that much, but it's another really remind me of Jade City or the Greenbone Saga, another book series I'd like to read, really, really, really good. The ways similar, not fully, but kind of similar. The characters are, I do think they're well developed, and get to know them a little bit more, and there's complications to those characters, and they're not just one-dimensional. Especially Vin, who discovers, well, after discovering her magic abilities that I said, she just becomes more and more, she's not immediately involved, or she's even self-doubting herself to be involved or part of this team, because she's never really been that level, but she doesn't know how to really focus herself as that. She wants to be in this team, but she's afraid that people are holding things back from her because she's not really part of the team, but it's really just, you don't need to know everything. Like, people, it's not about trust, it's just about keeping you safe as well, because she's still a kid. But she does become a key player in the fight against this Lord Ruler. And the plot is full of twists and turns, of course. So it does keep you hooked and intrigued. And there are parts, even though it's like nice and calm at the beginning, but there's a point that calm turns into a tension feeling. And I'm like, oh, something is going to happen soon. I'm expecting it. So I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to, but I can't help to continue. What do you want to do? So, I gotta say, Final Empire, brilliant beginning to my official Brandon Sanderson reading, so I really, really enjoyed that. So next, I'm going to go on to veer off once again, and I read Carrie. Knew this story. Once again, the book was not as I expected. Stephen King's quote. I think this is Stephen King's first novel he ever wrote, and it's kind of presented in a way that after an incident, not the incident, occurred in Carrie, and everyone's kind of something like an interview where they're collecting bits of information about what happened and why it happened. There's a high school girl who discovers her telekinetic powers officially after an incident in the school showers. And by this is all kind of from being bullied by her peers at school and abused by her mother at home. Carrie is, when she finds her power, she gets more and more powerful by practicing with it. And it all culminates in a tragic and violent prom night. The novel explores themes of bullying, revenge, and the devastating impact of societal and familial oppression. So it is, well, we started kind of knowing what happened. Pretty much introduced pretty immediately. So it still does not make it lose the chilling and unsettling elements of this tale of teenage angst with telekinetic powers. So the story revolves around Carrie, outcast, relentlessly bullied by her peers and oppressed by a fanatically religious mother. The novel builds up the tension beautifully. So, like, once again, I actually was nervous to read. Like, every time I was about to pick up a book, I did not want to start because I was nervous what's going to happen, and I hate what Carrie's going through. But then I had to read it. I couldn't not read it. And then once I started, I just couldn't put it down. So I did enjoy it. Yeah, bit by bit, the tension does build. Each time I pick it up, something a little bit more is happening. And eventually, it leads to an explosive and horrifying climax. So, yeah, Stephen King is, like, even in this first one, I think he threw it into the dumpster, Carrie, when, like, the first one of the drafts, anyway. He threw it into the dumpster with his wife gone to take it out, which is thank goodness, because it started his magical world. And because he is gripping and poignant, capturing the raw emotions and traumas of adolescence. So it's like some parts of being a teenage girl, he might be over dramatizing, but what is a teenage girl? I definitely was not a very good one growing up. There's another time, not that bad. Carrie is a powerful exploration of the dark side of human nature and the consequences of cruelty and isolation. What is the extreme? It kind of makes you think, though, when I was reading it, if all you know is that, and that's how you are treated. And you may see people being nice to others around them, but that's what you see. What else? I know some people say, "Oh, but they're an adult," or "they're." But what if that's all you know? How can you be better if you're how you learn how to be, your emotional parts or how you act in society is actually developed mostly by your peers. But if your peers are treating you that way, yeah, you think have the baseline of your parents, but that's not much for either. Anyway, it is hard to see that cycle and just knowing how it ends. And now I'm going to move on to a book that I believe haunts me more than other horror books technically I read the last few months, even during Halloween and everything. 1984 by George Orwell. I really hope that I yeah, this one was hard. I was listening to it on audiobook and it was hard to listen to. It was actually deeply unsettling. It was thought provoking. I don't know what it is about me, but every January, last 2 years in January, I've been reading dystopian novels. What is wrong with me? And it's almost you know, premonition. Anyway, I read Prophet Song January last year. Same kind of thing, set in Dublin. I know these places. I lived in Dublin all my life, so it's weird. Anyway, not 1984, deeply unsettling. And so the story follows Winston Smith. Oh, this boy, a man living under the oppressive regime of Big Brother. And I think I'm going to be haunted by this one for a while. So mostly, I think the reason why I'm just so haunted by it is Winston seems so innocent. Like he's so naive and almost childlike. And it seems so like this girl, what was that? And so like making his journey, like oh my god, his journey is all the more heart wrenching as he navigates a world where truth is manipulated. 2 + 2 = 6. 2 + 2 = 1. You know. And individuality is crushed. And it's just a lot of the time, what got it for me is that he had so much faith. Like he seems to have a lot of communication in his own head, and it seems to be so easy to trick people in this world because a lot of them seem to be so like they really want to find something to connect with their thoughts, and it was so hard to listen to him and wanting to trust people and So the novel's exploration of totalitarianism, surveillance, and psychological manipulation is really relevant and important, one of the most moving and impactful reads. And there you have it, my January reads and reviews. However, I record this outro 3 weeks after the initial recording, so I know it's deep into February. I recorded this like the 5th of February, so I had good intentions. But what a month. It's been the most boring, like visually, video content level, boring month. Dramatic for me, but boring. But, oh god, I'm getting overwhelmed. Because me and my husband are buying a house and we're trying to get the finalizing stuff done so we can actually get the mortgage sorted. We're hoping to move in next month, but I'm trying so hard. We'll see. Sorting schools out for my son as well, so application forms and backup schools and go to visitation nights and have to make phone calls. And I'm not very good at phone calls. I'm the phone call lady for mortgage and everything. So I was just off the phone today, so that's probably another reason of stress. And to top it all off, my supervisors, I was hoping to, graduate with a PhD in a few months' time. I'm not optimistic now because the supervisors are trying to get me to drop out. Anyway, if there ever is anyone who's subscribe and likes and all of that stuff in comments below and wanted to hear more background of all of this craziness or even follow some of this craziness, maybe if I finally have answers of what to do during all of this, hit me up in the comment section, wherever that may be. But we're all here about books. This is supposed to be